Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to your 13 sign sidereal astrology update for the week commencing the 29th of March 2021. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Kel Gunter. I'm a 13 sign sidereal astrologer and life coach. I use astrology as a tool to allow us to access our subconscious and our consciousness, to allow us to come back to our alchemical selves, our alchemical selves, to get in deep alignment with our body, with our spirit, and with our ecology, because we are part of our ecology, coming back and self-actualizing, coming back to who we were born to be, so that you can have the relationships you desire, you can have the sex you desire, you can earn the money you want, you can have the freedom you want, you can get as healthy as you want, all those things when you come back into alignment with your spiritual and environmental nature. So that's what I can help you do. What is 13 sign sidereal astrology? In its easiest way to understand it, it is where you can observe the planets from right now. Yes. It's where you can observe the planets from right now. That is astronomy. It's where the astronomers tell us the planets are observed from our point of view on this beautiful planet within our solar system. 90, maybe 99% of modern Western astrology, not talking Eastern astrology here, I'm not trained in that. 90% of Western astrology refers to a system that is old. It infers that the planet is static, it doesn't move. It also infers that all the planets and the sun revolve around planet Earth. That has been proved to be incorrect as we have evolved across the ages. So I implore you to join the 13 sign sidereal astrology revolution, which is bringing astronomy and astrology back together so that we can connect in with the natural cycles that the stars are presenting us. We are the stars. We are born from the same matter as the planets and the stars, so that we can come back into reverential sacredness with our ecology. We can start to observe our environment. We can start to look after it better and be awesome humans and custodians of the planet that we live on. That is my big vision. Okay, so that's 13 sign sidereal astrology. What's going on this week? Well, today, right now, we have a Virgo full moon. What does that mean? The full moon is about something coming to fullness, a creation, a task, an intention, something that you have put out in the world with your heart on your sleeve and your spirit just right behind it. The sun is illuminating the moon and calling forth your heart with your spirit for you to put that creation into the world. Now, of course, the minute you do that, there's things that you need to surrender. You need to surrender when you do that. And then there's things that need to let go. You need to let go of, and you realize that in this process of self-actualization, as we ascend to coming back to our spiritual nature, as we ascend to come back to our alchemical selves, we need to let go of things that aren't helping us on that journey. And when the moon is within the sign of Virgo, Virgo is all about service, but it's also about looking after yourself. So how are you looking after your body? How are you looking after your mind? Are you taking care of your spirit so that you can serve to your fullest ability? Now, over the last 29 days, this task or this intention that you have created, this way of life that perhaps you're wanting to be living, what came up for you? What didn't support you during that last 29 days? That's the thing that needs to be released. And a good dose of surrender needs to happen with the full moon as well, because over the next 4 phases of the moon before the new moon, you're going to ride the wave now of where you've put your heart and your soul and your spirit out into the world, when you've created something So that's the full moon energy. Now, in my Facebook group, Sidereal Stars, which is completely free, I did a full live on the full moon. So if you wanted to go over and watch that, you can get some more information about the full moon on my Facebook, Sidereal Stars, and it's free to join. You can find the link at www.kellygunter.com, and it's below this video, so you can find it there. Okay, so there's two more aspects for the rest of the week that are really going to be informing how we can operate and how that we can use these full moon vibes as we continue on now into the remainder of this phases of the moon towards the new moon. Tomorrow we have Neptune conjunct Mercury in Aquarius. So Neptune is the mystic. It's essentially infinite consciousness. It's the higher mind, someone might call it. But it's also collective unconsciousness, right? So it's basically the miasma of energy swirling around you. That's Neptune. Think of Neptune like that. Mercury is our logical brain. These two merge. So a conjunction is a merging. Essentially, you can see them in the sky and they're lined up. They're not actually lined up. It's just our perception of them from planet Earth. So the energy presented here is this merging of our spiritual mind, the subtle realms, with the logical mind in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the visionary. And I'm not quite sure if you could understand what I was saying, but my big vision is for us to start privileging the subtle realms, start privileging our spirituality, start privileging our inner mystic to come back in and inform our logic so that we can start to bring our visions into the world. We can start to be the radical and the rebel and start to make changes in the actual world fed by not just logic and science. It's also fed by feeling and intuition. Because many, many cultures had those two things and they have crafted some amazing spiritual systems, and they didn't have the science that we have now. So it's this merging of bringing back in. So how that might play out for you as an individual, you might come across a problem that you can't solve with your analytical mind. And it's on the way to your vision. You're creating something, a big vision. Or perhaps there's a change that you want to make, or perhaps you're trying to inspire other people to take action. And you're racking your brain and it hurts, right? When you rack your brain to try and find a solution. Stop. Go daydream. Even Einstein did this. Go daydream. Go wash some dishes. My best place is the toilet and the shower, where I come up with my solutions. And I've also had significant solutions while driving my car. So as soon as we turn the logical brain off, our subtle brain and our intuition can start to bubble up, and we start to notice the information that can just come to us, and it can be that easy. So this week, while you're riding the waves of making the changes that you need to do, perhaps to your health after the full moon, and when I say health, it could be mental health, spiritual health, physical health, in putting part of your service out there into the world, allow that service to be informed not just by the logical mind, because Virgo likes the logical mind, but it can also be informed by the subtle realms. It can be also informed by what I would call our intuitive intelligence, or someone might say your intuition. Listen to your gut. I would say listen to your heart, because your heart has 40,000 neurons, and those 40,000 neurons are like a small little brain in your heart, and they feed back information to your brain. So it's not just your brain doing the work. There's a lot of research on the gut and how it feeds back to the brain, and now there is a lot of research in the heart and how that feeds back to the brain. So that's how you can use that this week. Another aspect that's occurring is Chiron is conjunct the sun. So again, this is happening in Pisces, and you can hear the themes that are playing out here. And I alluded to this over my last couple of videos over the last month. So this is the last week of March. We have mega Pisces energy at the moment. And what that means is there's a deep, deep call for us to come back to our mystical nature, to come back to our spiritual nature. And you can see that a lot of Indigenous and First Nations cultures have this inherent in their culture. And we used to, Western civilization used to as well, back when you look at when writing was first taking off with the Babylonians, the Sumerians, the Assyrians, and they were all, and then it led into the Greeks and Romans and Egyptians with the hieroglyphs, of course, where writing was developing. Those societies, those cultures had a reverence for nature. They were structured with astrology and astronomy together, and they brought them back together. And people's spirituality was privileged. They had rituals, they had sacred days, they had festivals, they revered the floods, they revered crops, they revered things that grew, they revered the sun, they revered the moon. There was this honouring of what the planet was giving us, and we have removed ourselves from that. And we can see the symptoms of that is climate change, and the cause of that is ecological destruction. We can see a pandemic that has basically fled around the planet because ecology hasn't had the habitat that it needs to reside in. We've eliminated it, we've obliterated it, and we haven't got the biodiversity. Anyway, I could go off on an ecological rant, but that's not the point. The point is we're at a very interesting point in history where the pandemic is coming to an end. The pandemic was a messenger. It was a messenger. You humans think you have power over nature. Actually, you don't. How about coming back more into alignment with the ecology? How about coming back more into alignment and revering everything and everyone in a mystical and spiritual sense? And it's that coming back. And there's this sense of healing. And I mentioned Chiron is connected to the sun. So it's really how we shine. We all have things that have been difficult for us, some more than others. And there's a level of healing that we will have created for ourselves within our own heart that can inform the way we shine and express ourselves. And it can also inform the way we come back and be our mystical, spiritual selves. So there is a call there to take that essence and that vulnerability from the healing that you have done for yourself. And if you haven't done that healing for yourself, just know that you have the power to do it. And now is a great time to seek out support if you do need help healing any trauma or anything that has occurred to you that you feel like you need healing with. But just know you have the power to do it. You don't need the external help. Some external support's great, but you have the power to heal yourself. And then once we do that, there's that edge of vulnerability where we have to expose our vulnerability to the world and say, this is me. And then that realization that in actual fact, we're all walking around like this. And that's perfectly okay because we're all unique. And we can come back to our spiritual and mystical nature while having all these unique experiences, and we can come back to being more a cosmological state. That's my dream. That's my dream. That's very Neptune and Pisces. And it's also very Neptune and Pisces because it's more collective. So when you get these collective overarching ideas that you have a vision or a goal towards the collective, that's when you're stepping more into the mystical and spiritual nature that you inherently are. Okay? And to conclude, all those planets are sitting in Pisces at the moment. So just notice the shift over the last few months. February saw a lot of Capricorn energy. People were put through their paces. There was a lot more outbreaks. We still needed to learn. There's been some issues with the systems. The systems are failing us. They're not the right systems. They need to be broken. New systems need to come in. We were put through our paces. It felt really heavy. And there was lots of things that we had to learn. That was all Capricorn energy. Then there was a shift to to more Aquarian energy. All right, we need to make some changes. We need to make a few tweaks. We need to look to our visionaries and our inspiration to make those changes. What are the changes that we want to make towards the collective? We're looking towards our leaders for inspiration, and we're not finding it. So we're like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? This is what's happening in Australia for certain. Then we step into now, it's Pisces. It's for the collective. We are collectively healing. We want to collectively shine. We want to collectively express. We want to start to also use more of our subtle brain with the logical brain. It's not just all about logic anymore. I'm just double checking something. Yes. Mercury moves into Pisces on Wednesday, which was like, hang on a minute, I just said Mercury's in Aquarius. So Mercury moves into Pisces on Wednesday. So that's the shift as well. So we end up having a stellium in Pisces, Mercury, Chiron, the Sun, and Venus. And that's a true stellium because it's got 3 of the personal planets, but 1 of what an outer asteroid, Chiron. So communication, I'm just going to read this here. Communication directed for the collective, take us back to that sense of interconnection. It's taking us back to the one mind. It's taking us back to the ecological law. And it doesn't matter what trauma we have experienced or where we're at. This is this whole idea of this inclusionary. We can all do this together. That's a very Pisces concept. Be vulnerable, heal, shine, express, connect. You as the mystic. Your alchemy, and then notice what comes up when I say those things to you. So what is your unique brand of alchemy and how that fits in with coming back into that collective consciousness, which we so desperately need instead of it being all about the individual, all about capitalism, all about using resources from the planet. That's this week. There are some other aspects that are happening the rest of the week. However, they are the main ones. They're going to be the main players. If you'd like to know the other aspects that are happening for the rest of the week, as I said, come and join Sidereal Stars, my Facebook group. It's completely free. Each day I put some information in relation to that daily celestial energy and how you can use it, journal prompts, and also glorious pictures. And you can ask me questions. You have access to me. You can ask me questions. So if you want to join Sidereal Stars, please go to kellygunter.com and the link is below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you probably in 2 weeks' time because I'm going to have a little bit of a holiday next week. Have a beautiful evening, and I will see you next time. Bye.